Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Stuart Allen Swerdlow.
And Janet Diane Moria Swerdlow.
And this is the Expansion's news video. It's a news video for the first week of January 2021.
Wow.
Happy New Year. Woo, woo. Where's your confetti?
I used it all up on New Year's Eve.
Well, I'm in a lot of pain today because some of you may know we had a big ice storm yesterday and then heavy snow overnight, which was not supposed to happen. And so when I was shoveling this heavy icy snow, there was still ice from the last storm before that, but I never shoveled, and then it froze. Now it's my fault. Mm-hmm. And so my shovel kept hitting and bumping and hitting and bumping, and now my back is hitting and bumping me. And tonight is more snow coming. So tomorrow you're going to shovel, right?
Yes, so. You got all the ice off the driveway?
No, I can't. It's stuck.
Oh, where's your flamethrower? On YouTube they show
I heard that if you urinate on it, it melts it. So I'm going to try that. I might try that.
Do you have that much to do the whole driveway?
I'm going to drink a lot of water and then go out and see if it works.
You need a flamethrower.
Well, that could be your nice words. Anyway, it's the first week of January, and I know you're waiting for things to happen.
Like my birthday.
That's not till almost the end of the month.
But that's very important. Probably the most important thing that's going to happen all month.
Anyway, I'm very different than I used to be.
You are?
Yeah, because, people know every year I make my beautiful snow walls.
Yeah.
And this year, who cares?
Well, we didn't have enough snow to make snow walls.
Yeah, we had. Did you look outside the window?
Yeah, but it's still little tiny snow walls, not this huge ones.
Well, so it's up, instead of my shoulders, it's up to my waist. It's enough snow out there, trust me. Because you don't even go out. You don't even know it's out there. You don't shovel, you don't do anything.
I do.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Anyway. So in Pennsylvania, which I think is the state I like the least.
What about Florida?
I'm starting to like Florida a lot more.
Yeah.
Because they're open and free.
How about California?
No, I never liked,
which you liked least? Pennsylvania or California?
Even when I worked in California, I didn't like it because people are so stupid and ignorant and la-la. And they said, well, if there's an earthquake, I guess we'll just die. Yeah, right.
So maybe Pennsylvania and California are tied.
No, Pennsylvania, I'm sorry, but they're inbred.
So
I don't know.
Why did you say you're sorry?
Because I feel sorry for them. They don't really know how stupid they are. Because, for example, the Pennsylvania House, it says Pennsylvania House, but I know they mean the legislature. They found that there were 200,000 votes in error, just a couple 100,000.
I'm surprised that's it.
And there were more ballots cast than people.
Right. I heard that.
Yeah, but there's no fraud. There's just 200,000 more, votes from dead people, dogs, illegal aliens, whatever, made up people. Oh, and Pennsylvania is the one I think where they had all these people who voted who were born in the Civil War.
Oh.
So they're very, very old. They probably didn't know what they were doing. Anyway, the election is just a total mess, and I believe it should be redone. I think the whole election should be eliminated and do-over. That's what I think. Because Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Nevada were completely fraudulent. And I'm sure if they were fraudulent, everything was fraudulent. Now, speaking of fraud, China may be the first major country to launch a central bank digital currency, otherwise known as CBDC.
So that sounds like a disease.
Yeah, the central bank digital currency, CBDC, from the CCP. So the CCP is having a CBDC.
No, it's a disease.
And that will strengthen the position of the central bank and help to further modernize the Chinese economy. The DCEP...
I think you just got this article because you like to say all these letters.
...is for China's trade partners.
Do I care?
And guess who they're starting with? Africa. Because China is ripping off Africa, abusing them.
Well, they have for a long time.
The Africans need to put them in a pot of boiling water and eat them. really. They like Chinese food. And I know I'm not politically correct, and I don't care if I insult China. I don't care. Okay, they deserve it. And so this is sometimes referred to as a digital version of a banknote, but it has many different kinds. There's many variants. So first, it will provide a sizable boost to the Chinese economy. Second, it will further increase, now this is something I'd never expect, Chinese government control of Chinese society. Who would ever imagine that?
Shock.
Right. And the currency is part of an ambitious plan to strengthen the international position of the renminbi, which is the Chinese currency, and potentially at the expense of the euro and probably the dollar as well. And China expects to go from a cash-based society to completely cashless money in 10 years. Seems like they're going to do it sooner. The Chinese cashless payment system is already able to settle 100,000 transactions per second. I can't even think that fast. Many African countries do not have fully convertible currencies. You have like beads and shells and elephant trunks and things like that. And mutual trade is frequently settled in US dollars, which is expensive to the Africans. So China is aiming to achieve a situation in which African countries can use the DCEP, not the CCP or the DCEB, right? It is only for their trade with China and also for their domestic transactions. So that means Chinese money will be used in Africa. Now, the newest model of the Huawei smartphone includes guess what, an app that enables you to use the DCP without the need for internet.
Really?
Isn't that brilliant? It's brilliant.
Wow.
Yeah, you could also have a little Corona app, get the coronavirus. It's Huawei is great. Huawei is currently already leading telecom provider in China. So what happens, people, when a country starts to use another country's money or currency? That means the economy belongs to the financial holder of that currency. So if you're going to use Chinese money, you now are part of the Chinese economy, not your own. Now, where was I going to go with this? Oh, speaking of 2021, they're saying now that you might, when you travel, have to bring 2 passports. So you need a passport for your identification, and then you need a passport that can vouch for your coronavirus vaccine and test status. And that'll also be an app. The verification could then be used for traveling on planes or large gatherings of blah blah, so communism. And the passport is being developed by Common Trust Network, partnering with airlines like JetBlue, United, Virgin Atlantic, Swiss Airlines, Cathay Pacific, and Lufthansa. And you need proof from a medical professional that you've received both doses of the vaccine. And the app will also list the health requirements for the traveler's departure and arrival destination. Well, if you're already at your departure destination, what difference does that make? Because you're there now. Okay, so that's really stupid.
They may make you go home.
You need to have blah blah right where you're standing. All right, so it's total communist control of the population. And I want, before I go to my next story, I want to read you a little bit about Nashville. And I would suggest that all of you watch the video on my blog that I posted on January 2nd about the Nashville bombing. And so it's interesting that the Dominion voting machines were moved to Nashville before the bombing and audited by AT&T, and then they got bombed. That's unusual, don't you think?
Did you see that video of the devastation?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. In the video that you'll see, the RV was across the street. The explosion was over here. So the RV did not blow up those buildings, okay? The RV was across the street, and there's a video of a camera, from a security camera down the street, and the RV doesn't blow up. The building blows up. And then something happens to the RV. Okay? So, cover story, BS. The device, and it is believed that the device used in the Nashville attack was a 250-pound small diameter bomb deployed by the MQ-9 Reaper drone, which is used by, guess what, the CIA, who's controlled by, guess what, the deep state. And so that's why the airspace over Nashville was shut down after the explosion. And there's a streak seen in the CCTV footage of the events, which looks like a missile in a stealth mode, recalibrating an aim and accelerating before impact and detonation. And you can clearly see that in the video that I posted on my blog. The motive was to stop the AT&T contract for the forensic audit of the Dominion voting machines. Now, interesting that the building that got blown up, because the building's history is that it was owned formerly by Cerberus Capital, a private equity group made up of the Carlyle Group, associated with Bill Clinton's FCC chairman and Obama's ambassador to the EU. What a coincidence.
Did you read what that Cerebus meant?
What?
It was like some dog that guards the gates of hell, I think.
Well, that's about right.
Yeah.
In December 2019, just a year ago, Cerberus, here's a Cerberus.
I think it's I'm not sure. I think it's Cerebus. Without
This
looking at
page
that. says
Cerebus, and this page says Cerebrus.
I think it's Cerebus.
Anyway, Cerberus Capital Management acquired Dominion Voting Systems, and it's run by Staple Street executives, and you know who that is?
I think so.
Joe Biden's brother-in-law, Steve Owens, who is the co-founder of Staple Street Executives, along with William Kennard, who is associated with Bill Clinton. Now, there is a supercomputer in Tennessee, which is connected to the AT&T Internet in Nashville, and the cooling system, which uses the water from the Cumberland River, was compromised due to the internet outage, and the supercomputer was fried, so nobody could get information from it. Then, this, they said, is a plan between domestic traitors in justice and in Congress and the Senate, because there are traitors in the Republican Senate. That includes McConnell, and this I didn't know, that traitor, McConnell, when I see him, I just want to, I don't care. His wife's sister's married to President Xi.
Really? I think I read that somewhere along the way.
Hello? I know there's a traitor. Sidney Powell had an affidavit from cybersecurity, that the election data could be transmitted to China, and the testimony pointed out that Dominion's voting system is cooperating with a company called Akamai, which delivers the network provider capable of transmitting U.S. election data to servers in Germany and China. So the latest research shows that a smart device in Georgia sent U.S. presidential election information to China. Isn't that interesting? Now it gets more interesting because of the Secretary of State of Georgia and Ron Raffensperger, who's the brother of Georgia's Secretary of State, works as the Chief Technical Officer of Huawei Enterprise Storage Solutions, which is based in Shenzhen, China, and owned by the CCP. What a coincidence. And it just happens to be the brother of Georgia's Secretary of State. Now, the Joint Terrorism Task Force has evidence that Georgia Governor Brian Kemp and Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger received bribes from the Chinese government to manipulate the election results.
Remember, they were tied into the same thing that Newsom in California was, with receiving money from
Listen,
the Chinese.
You cannot get more corrupt than what's going on in this country. I mean, this is like corruption 101 study here. So the proof is overwhelming, and January 6th, the evidence will be revealed in Washington, and there is a plan about it. So that's why there's this big deal with January 6th rally and whatever they're doing in Washington. Iran threatened the life of the president, this is in the news, and his family, and so now they're going to pay for that because information is that Israel is preparing a major strike on Iran, and so is the United States. The military in the Middle East is now congealing around Iran, and something is happening in this country in the next few days. There's military activity increasing coast to coast. My One of my sons, who works in an Air Force base on the East Coast, confirmed heavy military movement that he had not seen before. So something's going on. Now, my final story before I turn it over to you is, of course, about the massive earthquake in Croatia. It was 6.3 on the Richter scale, and it was 28 miles southeast of Zagreb, which is the capital of Croatia. We were in Zagreb. They have a beautiful train station. I bet it was destroyed. Now, it was felt in Serbia, Bosnia, Slovenia, and but here's the thing. Quakes are normal there. It's the result of the African plate moving north into the Mediterranean area, and it does affect Spain and France, Italy, Greece, Turkey, and all of southern Europe. So while it doesn't happen a lot, earthquakes do happen in this region.
Okay, back to me. I also was going to mention about January 6th, because apparently President Trump announced that evidence of alleged election fraud will be presented on January 6th during the joint session of Congress. And he tweeted, massive amounts of evidence will be presented on the 6th we won big.
Yes.
And Senator Josh Hawley, Republican Missouri, and about 40 House GOP lawmakers have announced that they will challenge the Electoral College votes during the January 6th joint session of Congress, due, of course, to the alleged fraud and irregularities during the November 3rd election. And they said that this challenge could lead to several hours of debate during the session.
At least.
At least. So Trump has suggested that his supporters attend rallies and events on January 6th, including one in Washington, D.C. at 11 a.m. So
See, I don't know what that's going to do.
I don't either. And so there's got to be a plan of something, because originally he said it's going to be wild. That's what I remember.
Well, that's what I'm concerned about.
So I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't go, but I know a lot of
First of
people
all, who
are
wants to
going.
stand outside in January?
But a lot of people are already going. And Vice President Mike Pence refused to sign on to a plan that would upend Congress certifying the election on January 6th. And this article says President-elect Joe Biden, but he's not president-elect until it's announced.
Right,
at
and the thing is, I don't know about Pence. I mean, I've heard all kinds of things back and forth, left and right. I don't know what to think about him.
So, anyway, it says that Representative Louis Gohmert and Arizona's slate of Republican electors sued Pence in a Texas federal court because they want the judge to rule that Pence can choose which set of electors' votes to count toward the tally when he presides over Congress. The House members and senators are allowed to object to the state's counts, and Gohmert said he plans to engage in that effort. Each time a state's count is objected to, senators and House members will head to their respective chambers for 2 hours of debate and then a vote. Now, you may have heard this lawsuit has since been thrown out. So that's a done deal. However, now this was most interesting. Pro-Trump attorney Lynn Wood suggests that Mike Pence should be arrested for treason and face execution by firing squad.
I don't know if I believe that story.
Yeah, for refusing to
Did you
join
see
the
it?
lawsuit. Yes. He tweeted it. He said, let's see.
Why would Trump allow him to be vice
Well, the thing
president
is, I'll tell
all
you
these years?
before I finish this. Because the thing is,
He had to have known.
when I saw Pence and his wife getting those vaccine shots, I thought, I wonder if they're going to remove him and maybe put Flynn in.
First of all, who knows if he really got it? Because sometimes they don't even have that. They have the cap
it
on
doesn't.
the needle.
I know that. It doesn't matter if he really got it. The point is he's trying to imprint the American people to get it. That's what he did.
Well, Trump also told people to get the vaccine.
Well, I'm just telling you.
I don't know about any of them
I don't know if he
anymore.
said to get it. He just said it's available. Anyway.
He's against them. He has a grandchild that was affected by them. Why would he say that?
Back to the story. So Wood wants Pence to overturn the results of the election during the session of Congress when the Electoral College votes are ratified. Pence, as president of the Senate, will oversee the January 6th session and declare the winner of the White House race. Wood, along with others, have urged Pence to interfere in the process despite not having any authority to alter the outcome of the congressional session.
But that's not true. The vice president does have authority.
That's what they were taking them to court for. If Pence is arrested, according to Lynn Wood, and he tags at Secretary Pompeo will save the election. Pence will be in jail awaiting trial for treason. He will face execution by firing squad.
I'm sure this is legitimate.
He is coward and will sing like a bird and confess all, he tweeted just yesterday.
But did someone make that up?
No.
Or is it real?
It's real. Wood went on to claim that Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is a truth giver on the side of Trump And when Secretary Pompeo speaks, listen carefully, he tweeted, shortly
Yes.
after his call for Pence's arrest.
I agree with that.
Now, Lynn Wood's remarks have drawn backlash, with
really?
some questioning his mental health following his call for Pence's arrest. Wood has previously suggested that Pence is Trump's enemy and shared a blog post suggesting the politician was planning to make a play for the White House by removing Trump from power using the 25th Amendment.
So don't you think when Trump picked him for VP 4 years ago that he knew about him?
Let me remind you, there's an old saying, this is keep your friends close
That close?
and your
It's like he's almost in his pants.
and your enemies closer.
I don't know about that one.
So Wood is believed to be a supporter of the whatever we can't say conspiracy theory, and has appeared alongside fellow lawyer and Trump loyalist Sidney Powell.
Right.
So we need to watch this story because obviously something's going on
This
here.
is like better than any show ever on television.
And of course, Mike Flynn is endorsing the selling of the, who we can't mention, merchandise that pays into his legal defense fund.
Who is?
Mike Flynn,
Oh.
with supporters saying buying t-shirts and hats helps his pardoned ex-national security advisor in the fight against fake
I
news.
like Flynn too.
So he might come in, as a VP.
Something's going on that we don't know about.
Obviously.
Something's going to happen January 6th that
Something
we
big.
just don't know about.
So Flynn says his site says, each purchase helps General Flynn and his army of digital soldiers in the fight against fake news. You can make a difference in the fight. Purchase official General Flynn and digital soldier media merchandise here and share this link. Flynn, of course, suggested that the president impose martial law and have the military rerun the election.
Well, yeah, I agree with that.
So that's what I said. I don't know what's happening, but
The election should be thrown out.
the minute I saw Pence with that, supposed needle, I thought something's not right here.
I don't understand. I thought he was loyal to Trump, and I've heard him say things that are loyal. I don't understand. It's like,
Well, snake in the grass is gonna, stay hidden until it needs to bite. So who knows?
I know too much about that one, Missy.
So moving along to COVID-19 vaccine. Well, this I thought actually was good news, even though they call it alarming. So alarming number of U.S. healthcare workers refused the COVID-19 vaccine.
Good.
Ohio Governor Mike DeWine disclosed that about 60% of the nursing home workers in his state have chosen not to get vaccinated. More than half of New York City's EMS workers have shown skepticism.
Right. It's poison.
California and Texas are experiencing a high rate of healthcare worker refusals.
Good.
A nurse at a California hospital who chose not to take the vaccine because she's pregnant said her co-workers who chose the same path as her did so because they don't need the vaccine to make it through the pandemic.
First of all, here's the ball. They're telling you that the hospitals are overwhelmed and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, these healthcare workers have time to do TikTok dance videos and dancing around it. So who's taking care of these overwhelming patient levels?
A high percentage of vaccine refusal among not just healthcare workers but the general population could be problematic, said Harvard epidemiologist Mark
Yeah,
Lipsitch.
he's problematic.
So this is what's interesting to me because this has been running through my head this whole time, and I don't know if, I'm sure you remember, I don't know about you, but do you remember the smallpox shots they tried to give out in 2003? Yeah. It was a big deal because their goal was to make it so everybody had the smallpox vaccine. So I pulled this old article to remind you. This has started out with the one I found was a dozen Connecticut doctors, it says, this is back in 2003, are lined up today to be the first of about 500,000 healthcare workers in the nation to receive smallpox vaccinations under a newly launched bioterrorism plan. Union officials recommended that its members refuse to volunteer for the shots until several liability questions were answered. Resistance from other unions representing healthcare workers could present serious obstacles to the plan to vaccinate 5,800 Connecticut healthcare workers, say they want to put them out first, in the coming weeks, the first stage of a voluntary national plan that calls for vaccinating emergency service providers and eventually the general public. Same thing, this was 2003. Now the initial group of about 20 doctors and nurses dubbed the Genesis team is scheduled to receive shots at the University of Connecticut Health Center with two-pronged needles. The core group to be vaccinated is then scheduled to other hospitals around the state to inoculate teams there who would then give shots to their key personnel. Many unions across the country have argued that the program should be delayed until all questions about liability can be hashed out. However, the smallpox program has taken on a new urgency as the United States continues its military buildup near Iraq, which may be one of the nations with stockpiles of the deadly virus. While the vaccine used in the U.S. until 72 is believed to be safe, public health officials acknowledge that it carries greater risk of serious side effects than most vaccines used today. So the reason you didn't remember it is because this didn't work because the people stood up and refused. And it went away.
But the difference is, in those days, there was no travel restrictions. It didn't matter if you took it or not.
Well, it still doesn't matter. They're still doing it for control, and that was the deal with the smallpox thing, and that didn't work. So now they're trying another deeper level of fear, something closer to home. Wear your mask, do this, do that, comply. You don't have a brain. Remember to read our series, please, on Say No to Mind Control. You need to read this and take care of yourself.
My opinion is, and I told you, if you wear a mask and you socialism distance and you are taking vaccine, then you're a communist. You are supporting the Communist Chinese Party. Period.
Now, in Britain, British activist Debbie Hicks was filmed inside. She filmed herself inside an empty hospital,
right,
and said this is a disgrace.
Every hospital is empty.
She posted a video online that showed her walking through the apparently empty halls of a hospital. Is it Gloucestershire? Gloucestershire Hospital. So guess what? They arrested her for doing that. And they said that she has been bailed to return to police on January 21 with conditions she cannot enter any NHS hospital or grounds
because she took a film?
Unless in the case of an emergency or to attend a prearranged NHS appointment. Now, she said she wanted to show the viewers that it was absolutely dead, despite being told by officials that the hospitals were being overrun. And she said, we've just been put in tier 3 for an empty hospital. This is a disgrace. This is making me angry. Share the hell out of this,
Good
guys.
For her.
Truth. Look at the truth here. So the hospital responded to her statement saying the wards are extremely busy. And they were upset because supposedly she filmed the patients in the emergency room. So this is what's happening, like you said, that they're telling people one thing.
They're lying. They're all lying.
And if it was really the truth, why would they care what she filmed?
You go to the hospital right down here, it's empty.
Now, I also took a little bit of your story that you were talking about the supposedly vaccine thing passport in LA. They actually began issuing digital vaccine verification, which could be used in the future as a passport to gain access to flights and venues.
I'll just stay home.
However, they say the reason is because you have to have 2 doses. So the reason you need it is because when you get the first dose, then you have to prove you had it to get your second dose.
I see.
It would not be used for these things. However, it reminded me, as you know, here in the U.S., we have our Social Security number, which we were told when that was issued, it would never be used for identification. And that's one of the first things they ask you for.
Always.
To prove who you are.
Exactly.
So that there's what they're saying and doing
But the
is 2 different things.
The thing is, most of the illegal aliens have one anyway, fake ones.
That's true.
And they get away with everything.
So the ACLU wrote, any immunity passport system endangers privacy rights by creating a new surveillance infrastructure to collect health data. It is one thing for an employee to voluntarily disclose their COVID-19 status to an employer one time, but it is another for that information to be collected and retained either by the government or by private companies offering immunity certifications. Now, under the age of 16, apparently they cannot get the vaccination, thank God.
Good.
Because it's not been tested in that age group.
Well, thank God for that.
Yes, so a passport system, it says, raises a question because not everybody will have the vaccine.
I am praying that sometime between January 6 and 20, something will happen to put President Trump back in office, no matter what he is, because he won't allow this to go forward.
Well, we won't know. It says that Qantas is already requiring it to fly internationally, so we won't really know.
Australia is a prison.
But the biggest thing still is it's about, speaking of prison, it's a prison for your mind. And so if you stand up and you say no to mind control, remember what we have, 13 cubed square cases in mind control, the true reality of sexuality, 13 cube, case studies in mind control and programming, and heights of deprogramming. You need to do your work so you can stand up and not live in fear. They want you in fear. And you can't
They
do
want
that.
you to be compliant.
And in fear.
And shut up.
And we have our spirituality bundle because the only thing that can protect you is your mind. Okay, so we have our spirituality, high spirituality. We have all these things, books that help you with your mind. So, moving along. In Leaders in the House, guess who those leaders just might be? Speaker Nancy Pelosi
Oh, right.
and Rules Committee Chairman James McGovern, both Democrats, announced that they have a new rules package which will include changing words to honor all gender identities by changing pronouns and familial relationships in the House rules to be gender neutral, including those who are non-binary. So this means this is the verbiage that will be struck from
Just
the
call
House
everybody,
rules.
hey you.
Father, mother, son, daughter, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, first cousin, nephew, niece, husband, wife.
But these are not allowed?
Not allowed. Wife, father-in-law, mother-in-law, son-in-law,
So, if I
daughter-in-law,
want to talk
brother-in-law.
about you, what do I say?
You're gonna have to call me your spouse.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All those laws: stepfather, stepmother, stepson, half-brother, half-sister, grandson, granddaughter.
And
all
if,
gonna be
if I want to talk
disallowed.
about one of my sons, what do I say about that person?
Child. So
But
now
is it,
you can't say. So now it's going to be replaced with parent, child, sibling, parent, sibling, first cousin, siblings, child, spouse, parent-in-law,
oh,
child-in-law,
I didn't want to hear it.
sibling-in-law, step-parent, step-child, step-sibling, half-sibling, and grandchild.
Nobody is gonna do that. Nobody.
So that's what's going on there, because that's good use of people's money, I think.
Why don't you just give them numbers and just go, I was talking to my
That'll be
sibling
next.
number 458 the other day.
That'll be next. Now listen to this one. This they just get so ridiculous. Apparently there's all these studies, and again, I would like to be paid because I will take money and
Me
give you
too.
better
Yeah.
answers without a study.
I'll do it for less than $1 billion.
Yeah, and better answers than these stupid studies. This says, let me see where this happened. Okay, this was at Ohio State University and also a place up in Canada, University of Ottawa in Canada. Okay, this is brilliant. They did a study showing that victims of racism should take ecstasy or magic mushrooms to reduce the trauma of their experience.
Just drink vodka or red wine.
Do our work. You don't need that. You just need your mind and do. This is so stupid. So scientists, who educated these people, scientists claim psychedelics could be an important avenue for healing. They can reduce stress, depression, and anxiety. And get this, in Black, Indigenous, and people of color. So we don't need it, apparently.
But I have a color.
I have been a subject of racism, right? And we all have colors. So, and I'm going to tell you why they're picking on these people, because they're more challenging to control.
I think they're using this as an excuse to eliminate them
Yes.
under the guise
Yes, of helping them.
Right.
That's what they're doing. Exactly.
That's why they want, the people of color should get the vaccine first. Yes, they kill them all.
Right.
And they'll be, and we're
Old people and all the
Right.
the prisoners and all the people they don't need. They're
Right.
getting rid
So
of them.
wake up, people.
And
It
they're-
has nothing to do with giving poor people the first opportunity. It's eliminating them,
You know, old
killing
people,
them.
sick people, and also you know why they want to do the healthcare workers, because they're the ones who saw the hospitals are empty.
Right. Get rid of them too.
That's right.
Wake
So-
up, everybody. Seriously, there's no time left.
So anyway, this is what's going on with your tax dollar money, and let's see if there's anything else. There's nothing really important about it, except it's so ridiculous. I had to tell you, it's a long article.
It's beyond ridiculous. It's more than evil. It's beyond evil.
Yes.
Even Satan thinks like, what the heck they doing?
And then the last story is a UFO story. And the reason that I brought that forward is because Fox News is calling 2020 a year of UFO news almost too strange to believe. And so a couple of things that they happen to bring. This is a long article, but I'm just highlighting it here for you. In January, the U.S. Navy said the release of certain classified briefings, this is January 2020, a release of certain classified briefings and a classified video about a UFO incident held by the Department of Defense would cause exceptionally grave damage to the national security to the U.S. And then a couple weeks after that, the UK announced that reported UFO sightings by the British public would be published online for the first time. And then they said the Royal Air Force ran a UFO unit for 50 years, but they shut it down. I don't think so. Because they said there's no real threat was apparent.
Right. Because we've already made alliances with them, so they're not a threat.
In June, President Trump told his son Donald Jr. that he had interesting details on Roswell, New Mexico.
I bet he does.
In July, a report mentioned a long-hidden UFO investigative unit within the Pentagon making its findings public and said it had off-world vehicles not made on this Earth.
Well, it's old news.
This is what this came out in 2020.
That's
Publicly,
not news.
it is. It is official news. It's not behind-the-scene news. This is official. And the fact that Fox ran this is keeping this out in front of the public. In August, the Pentagon officially launched the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force to investigate UFOs following several unexplained incidents observed by the U.S. military. And in October, President Trump once again said he would take a good strong look at whether there are UFOs. And in December, there were leaked reports from the Pentagon's UFO task force that discussed non-human technology, including an October 2019 email exchange between high-ranking military
Oh,
officials.
it's just blah, blah, blah.
So this is what we're going to find in 2021. We're going to have more disclosure about the aliens.
You know what? I'm going to have
That's
my
gonna
people
happen.
take over, and this is the end of it.
That's going to happen. So if you to prepare for the alien takeover, you want to be sure and read Blue Blood, True Blood. It has pictures even, so you can recognize the aliens in there. So, and remember my new book, Heights of Relationships, which just came out, which of course we have such a great relationship, you don't need to read it, right?
I know. In fact, you wrote all about me.
Yeah, that's true. And I have just released or just announced the pre-publication pre-order of my new book, Heights of Wealth. I'm very excited about that one. That
Am I
one,
in that one too?
no. That one will be ready for shipment around the 1st of February. So you want to place your order because last time when we got these, we sold out of the first printing so fast. We had to reprint and then the other people had to wait. So place your order, Heights of Wealth. And remember to get your membership on expansions.com. And if you want to know more about us, you want to read our beginner packet, Decoding Your Life, which is Universal Law and Hyperspace Helper and
It's upside down.
Stuart said, that's because you stand on your head all the time. So this is our beginner packet. So we have so much information to help you with your mind. So your mind is not in a prison, so you don't create that out there. Your mind is what's drawing all this oppression. Get rid of your victim mentality and let's get rid of anything that oppresses us or you don't like. Fix yourself first.
Well,
That's where
for
it
me,
begins.
that'd be like all 8 billion people on the earth, so I'd be alone.
And you gotta fix your mind. Yeah. So,
Yeah, so anyway, we talked about the new book. So
Yeah.
our new webinar series starts January 6th. That's a big
Interesting
day.
enough,
That's a big
apparently.
day, January
Isn't
6th.
that like the Epiphany or something
That thing's
too?
the next day.
Oh, the 7th?
Mhm.
Alright, so the
Maybe it is
6th.
the 6th. I don't know.
I don't know.
And my Turkish webinar, our Turkish webinar,
Mm-hmm.
will be on January 8th. So busy week coming up.
Yeah.
And
Well, OMG applicants, if you're interested, we have that coming up in about a week, and we have a few people that have signed up. It's only for the very, very brave.
And like I said, we're doing very different things this year. I'm involved in different things that I never have been involved before.
Let me see your book there in front of you, the alien one.
This one.
Yeah. Yeah. If you haven't read the autobiography, you need to read this one.
I was supposed to have a couple of new books, but I haven't started them yet.
No, but you got your notes. You've been doing your research.
I'm not feeling it.
Yeah. So the January 6th is going to be on the Zohar, the Kabbalah, and it's going to be based on this series. And I'm working on actually one companion book. We'll have 2 that will be coming out after the first of the year. Mine has a wonderful title. I don't want to disclose it yet. But anyway, these you will be very helpful for those of you who are taking the January 6th webinar. Sign up on the website for that. Get your
And
expansions.
our hero dog
Yeah.
showed up last Sunday morning,
Yes.
and we love him very much.
Yes.
And he's gigantic.
Yes. And I posted a picture on Facebook.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Okay.
Just one. But anyway, so take care of your mind. Get your membership on expansions.com, less than $1 a day, where you can be in contact with us every single day.
But maybe I don't want to be in contact with them. Do you ever think of that?
Yeah, I know, because sometimes you do kind of say that
It's
on
like,
the site.
it's like, here they go again.
Yeah, but you got to read the books, so don't just start asking questions. It's not like we're your personal encyclopedia.
Yeah, I just have one question. What do you know about everything?
Yeah, so read the books, please. Get the books, We have book bundles that are amazing that will help you figure out what you need and where to start.
Yeah, and so thank you to all who wished us a Happy New Year. You know, I try to answer as much as I can, but I can't answer every single person. It's just too much. I don't even answer Janet most of the time because she asks so many questions. Really, I don't need Q&A. I have you. Just, oh, now what? La, 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 la. I'm in trouble, aren't I? Okay, I need someone to help shovel tomorrow morning. I have to go to the bathroom because you're making me so upset. You are. Are you gonna hurt me?
Probably. You like that.
Yeah, I kind of do. Anyway, it depends what happens this week. Maybe see you next week, maybe not. We don't know.
Like, comment, and please share. Let everybody know about hyperspace over soul work and working on their own minds.
Yeah, and I would be so happy if I woke up and someone already shoveled the driveway for me. Really.
Get a flamethrower.
And it's illegal.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because you know what would happen? I'd be flamethrowing people I don't like.
So we'll see you next week, hopefully.
Bye.
Bye.